Welcome to Untamed Blossoms, the podcast where we celebrate the untamed journey of womanhood. Here, we tell the stories of incredible women who have embraced their authenticity, inspiring others to do the same.
From entrepreneurs to artists, activists to adventurers, we share triumphs, challenges, and the beauty of self-discovery. These are the stories of women blazing their own trails, breaking free, and blooming unapologetically.
Join us to connect, be inspired, and celebrate the power of women's stories. Together, let's rewrite the rules and embrace our wildness.
Welcome to Untamed Blossoms. I'm your host, Amanda.
And I'm Christy. Welcome to the show.
It's the coldest day that's ever been right now.
We have our hot tea. What'd you do with your coffee?
It's down below.
Okay.
I needed to curl up.
I'm holding on to it for dear life. It's cold in here.
It is. I mean, this morning when I woke up, I checked the temperature. And when I saw a digit,
a single digit,
and it feels like with a minus sign in front of it.
With double digits.
No. I said, no gym, no getting out of this bed. You know me.
Oh, yes.
You
get up and go to the gym every day, y'all. Every day she's at the gym.
There's very few reasons. Even if I don't sleep well, if I'm tired, I do not care.
You go.
I go.
Yeah.
This morning I was like, there's no way. I will freeze to death.
Yes.
I won't do it.
Your text to me was, I'm putting on 10,000 layers. I'll be there at 10 a.m.
I'm not 10,000. Maybe I exaggerated a little.
But you came in pretty layered up.
Because I just couldn't. I can't. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So we were in Cleveland this weekend.
Cold up there?
Yeah. Yes. It is frigid up there. I have a lot of feelings about Cleveland as a city. But we went there for a birthday party.
Right.
And we went to dinner before at her parents' house. They live right on the lake. Like you can see downtown Cleveland from there, like high rise, right?
Right.
The wind.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine. It's so cold.
Oh my God.
And you had to dress up like you were going to a prom.
I was in a prom dress.
Were you freezing? You had to have been so cold.
And a dress with a slit.
Oh yeah. Oh God.
I was so cold.
Yeah.
Eventually, so we had it at this bar. It was awesome. There was a DJ. It was great. But I just eventually put on my huge furry jacket and just wore it around the rest of the night because I was like, I'll never be warm again.
You're right. I wonder if up there it's okay to wear like boots with your prom dress. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, of course, girls these days are like, yeah, I'm wearing tennis shoes. What are you talking about? Heels? And I'm like, God, I wish I was that generation and not like the Charlotte Rouge, let's go out, no coat, flip flops. Like we were monsters.
We were monsters. Yeah. My generation was too. We didn't have, we would stand outside in the freezing cold with barely anything on. We'd stand in the club back in the day.
Isn't that crazy? Like, oh, I can't wear a jacket. Where would I put it? I don't know, but guess what? It's freezing.
Yes. I think our practical era has just arrived.
Well, I'm staying practical out here on these streets because I will not be cold. What'd you do this weekend?
We had a very low-key weekend. Saturday, I really just putzed around and got a bunch of things done around the house. And then yesterday we went to a horse show. It was like 2 hours away. It's down in Athens for Kirsten. And that was treacherous. That was touch and go. The Arctic vortex was dumping snow in pockets at a clip that you couldn't see through. So, that's always fun when you're on the freeway. And all of a sudden you're like, now we're going 4 miles an hour and can't see anything. And the roads are covered in snow. So,
did you get that alert yesterday?
Yes. We were driving in it when it came.
Oh,
yeah.
It was terrifying. It was like an Amber Alert, but it was for a snow squall, which I didn't even know was a thing.
We laughed because we were in the middle of the squall when the alert came.
You don't say.
Thanks. We exactly said that. We were like, thank you, Captain Obvious. We're right in the middle of it. But fortunately we're fortunate enough to have a four-wheel drive vehicle and we were safe the whole time. Great. But very low key. And the kids have the day off school today and tomorrow. So everybody's just hanging out.
Yeah,
today.
happy MLK Day.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great day to reflect on peace and love,
That's right.
So, love
So
it.
our guest today.
Yeah, LaTonga.
Yeah.
So excited to hear about her and her business. And
she's local to us here in Westerville. Yeah.
That's the thing. So excited to hear about her journey and how she got into this business and how she's currently staying warm.
Well, she's probably not. That's the problem.
That's true.
Yeah.
But I'm going to see if she has any tips or tricks. Because you can never say. Also, though, it is so brutal on your skin right now because of how cold it is. I would love if she could share some tips of how to stay not looking like my face looks in the morning. Like I am like putting on so much lotion because it's so freaking cold.
Right. The furnaces are a big thing to do with that too. So if your house doesn't have a humidifier attached to the furnace, it's really drying.
Yeah.
So
outside of our guest today, we also have our clothing swap is finally here.
Around the corner this weekend.
Yes. When you're listening to this on Sunday, it will be the day of the clothing swap.
Yes. Yeah, we'll be busy swapping clothes.
So
we've gotten a lot of interest, people that we don't know that are interested on the socials. And so we're excited that people are really finding this valuable. So we're excited to see what the turnout's going to be.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Well,
without further ado,
welcome, Tanya. Hi, Tanya. Welcome to the pod.
Hello. You came out on this frigid morning.
I did. It is really, really cold outside.
Cold. Yeah.
I just had to turn the heat off in the car. I was like, oh my God, I'm layered up. So I'm like baking. I'm like,
thank God. Yeah.
You're pretty close to here.
I am. I live in Westerville and my business is in Westerville as well.
That's awesome. How long have you been here? Did you grow up in Columbus?
I grew up in Columbus, but my kids all graduated from Westerville North. So
nice.
Yeah.
So you've been in the Westerville community a long time.
Nice. Yes.
Okay. Well, tell us where you grew up. Where did you?
I grew up north side of Columbus, raised by my grandmother. I have three sisters actually and a brother. Two sisters are half sisters and one half brother, but I don't use the word half. They're my siblings.
Yeah.
I'm the second oldest, and my grandmother actually had 7 children.
Wow.
My mom was a twin, and I am the oldest of 45 grandchildren.
Wow.
Oh my gosh.
45.
Wow.
That's impressive.
Yes.
What are holidays like at your family?
Oh, it's never a dull moment. That's for certain. Never a dull moment. My sister, my sister has 7 kids. She has 6 boys and 1 girl. She wanted a girl so bad.
So her girl is the baby?
She's the baby, but she's a tomboy.
Yeah.
Yeah, of course she is.
Just 6
when you had 6 brothers.
Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah.
So was your mom in the picture at all in your childhood?
She was.
Yeah.
She was. But, I've been the oldest. My grandmother just kind of like I was her baby,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
The oldest, everybody always looks at me and thinks that my uncles and my aunts are really my siblings because I pretty much was raised with them.
Yeah.
Wow.
So she still had kids at home when you came to live with them.
Yeah.
Wow, that's cool. So that you felt like you had a real extended family in her household.
Absolutely. We, our cousins, even our, first cousins, we refer to them as our aunts and uncles. We don't say cousins, and just very, very close. And I'm really big on family. So
perfect.
How has that really played a role in your support as you became a mother?
I truly believe in it takes a village to raise kids. So, having a big family is really, really a benefit. It's a blessing for real.
Yeah.
Right now, I'm married second time. And my husband has 2 sets of twins.
Oh my goodness.
One identical, one fraternal. And then I have 3 children. So together we have 7 and we have 10 grandchildren.
Congratulations.
So we have a really big family. This past Christmas was the first time we had them all together, though.
Oh, me too. Isn't that weird?
Yes, the very first time. Well, our son was in the Navy, or the Army, and he just retired last year. So, so after 10 years, he was stationed in Germany. So our granddaughter, his daughter, was born in Germany. Wow. She has dual citizenship.
That's awesome.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is she bilingual?
She is.
Nice. That's
Yes.
fantastic. I'm sure that's a fun time at your house for the holidays.
Very busy.
Yeah.
Very busy.
I was going to ask, is there like a central place where you all tend to gravitate to be together?
Definitely our house.
Yeah.
And we normally are just, in the family room. I love to cook. So
Okay.
they're always looking for a meal. So
Oh,
they
that's
just show up. All the food's there. Everything's there,
unannounced. They're just like going to mom's house.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
My daughter believes that I am Aldi's or Walmart.
She comes to
Green
me, she needs stuff.
She packs up stuff. Like, wait a minute, where are you going with that? My oldest granddaughter had told me one time, she's like, they call me Mimi. Mimi, my mommy was in your closet. And I'm like, what are you doing?
What did she take? Did you happen to see?
Did she leave me a list?
Yeah.
Wow, I cannot imagine. So, how did you, I guess backing up a little bit, did you go to college or did you go to like a vocational school?
I did. So
how
I
did you start
attended college, Franklin University,
Okay.
and I actually have a degree in small business management.
Wow.
Did the executive director thing for over 30 years with nonprofits, got kind of burnt out, and
Yeah.
skin has always been my passion. And so once my youngest son hit high school, I was like, I'm going to do something that I want to do. So I went back to school and got my license as an advanced esthetician. After I got that, I started student teaching, and then I became a licensed educator. So I have my advanced esthetician license, my manicure license, and my instructor license.
Wow.
Wow.
So,
And being a mom to all the kids, I cannot imagine.
well, he was the youngest. So it was like, you know what? Everybody else is grown. They have their own families. So I'm going to, focus on me before a change.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is that the youngest of the blended family?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, actually, no, he's not. He's the second youngest of the blended family.
Got you. But the youngest of yours,
yes,
biologically.
Yes.
Yeah. And you're like, he's doing his own thing.
He's doing his own thing.
Mommy has a chance to do what she wants to do.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And what did you do as a profession before that? You said you were just
executive director for nonprofits.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
That is a grind, I'm sure.
Yes, it is.
Can you talk a little bit about maybe your experience being in that and any potential burnout or?
So I believe, I'm really naturally a person who loves to serve. And so being in the nonprofit world, that's what you're doing. You're meeting a immediate need for families. And, I served on a lot of boards, and I was just really tired of the people talking at you, but not talking with you, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the things that we would talk about, it's like, this is not rocket science, like poverty, we don't have to, all this bureaucracy, that's what I got tired of, and the politics, you know, and working 60 hours a week and going to the same meetings, discussing the same topics over and over and over again, and nothing really happening.
Yeah.
Nothing really.
Without any real change.
No
happening.
change at all.
Yeah.
It's like the meeting just to meet over a topic that's already been discussed to then have some sort of action plan.
Absolutely.
Right. It's so
and then
excruciating.
sometimes, making changes that really don't benefit the people that we're serving, For example, I served on a committee, and one of our things was taking a look at, we call it the benefits cliff, or that's what it was called when I was there. And basically, a working mother with 2 kids, at that time, you had to earn at least $15 an hour with 2 kids to be able to afford a 1-bedroom apartment. And people weren't making that.
Yeah.
But if they did make that, then they would lose their child care, and they would lose their food, assistance. And it's like, it's a catch-22. You want them to be self-sufficient. But when they start working and they start earning these things, you start taking stuff away from them.
Yeah.
Right. They lose all of it.
They lose it all.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like the working poor.
It is the working poor.
The working poor.
Yes. Yeah. And so you're not giving them a hand up. It really is. They don't want, this is why they don't tell you that they're working. This is why they try to fly under the radar. It's not that they want to be on assistance, but what choice do they have?
Yeah. And there's a lot of perceptions about people who need assistance too.
Absolutely.
And that causes people not to reach out for the ones who really actually very much so need it and deserve it, right?
Yeah,
Like,
absolutely. Absolutely.
Like, no, I'll never apply for assistance. I'm not that person, or pride gets in the way because it's been so stigmatized, right? That it's a terrible thing to help. When really these single moms need the medical, even if they're earning enough to do the basics, right?
Yes.
One illness and one trip to the emergency room takes them down.
They're one paycheck away from being homeless.
Away from being from being homeless. You're totally right. So if they get sick or anything, and we don't tend to think about those things, you know, in our world.
Yes.
Yeah. Any like key things that you learned through your time there that helped kind of project you when you decided to take on your own business and do those things? What were some things you were like, yes, this is good?
I think one of the things really is the talking with people, hearing them, you know, seeing them, and not just talking at them, involving them in the process. People just want to be heard.
And they want to be a part of the solution.
They want to be a part of the solution. They want to be included.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Did you manage people during your time there?
I did.
Yeah. That also can be so hard.
Very challenging. To say the least. Very
so what's the hardest job that you'll ever do?
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe other than parenting.
I was going to say, I don't know. Close.
Second,
parenting.
Parenting, I will continue to say is the hardest job on the planet.
Absolutely.
However, second to that, I think, is managing.
It's managing.
Because you really end up being the confidant, the counselor, and then you're also trying to drive performance. And
Absolutely.
It's a lot.
Well, I see, you know, being an esthetician, working in skincare, I'm the confidant, I'm the therapist, I'm the, you know, you learn a lot about your clients.
I bet.
A lot.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's like the hairdresser, right? You feel weird just sitting there not speaking to them. So you end up just pouring your personal life out to each other. And it's an interesting dynamic. You're like, wow, I just told them that and I don't really know them. Like, she's new to me doing that. Right now she knows.
Now she knows everything about me, right?
Maybe I wouldn't tell to most people, but that's weird. I think that's an interesting seat that you sit in, you know, and holding that and holding confidence, I think, you know.
You know, I teach my students that, you know, one of the things, especially in our profession, is that the confidentiality. You know, you're going to hear things about your clients, you're going to learn things, and they trust that you're going to keep that in confidence, that you're not, even if you know that Susie next door is their best friend and whatever, you can't say anything to Susie. You know, that's that time that they paid you for, that you're attentive to them and they want your undivided attention, and anything they share with you. It's like that attorney and client kind of relationship.
Privilege, privileged information.
Privileged information. You are not sharing.
And it's really, obviously, it's not like a HIPAA violation, right? But it is a violation of trust. And if you want people to come back to you as a business owner, you have to.
I tell them, I said, this is a relationship business.
Right.
Yeah.
You build the relationship, your clients will always continue to come back to you. But if you betray their trust, they're going to go find someone else.
Right. Absolutely.
So
you got your esthetician's licensing, and then did you open up your own business at first, or did you work somewhere else first?
Nope. I went straight into opening my own spa because I had already built relationships, you know, in the business arena, been in nonprofit. You know, I always encourage my students, of course, they're younger, you know, to go and work under someone to get more experience and to build their, you know, their clientele. But I already had that kind of book of clientele for people to be able to come in and open my own business.
Yeah. Plus, you understood business.
I understand business. And I think a lot of people trust me because I'm older, you know? They don't look at me as like the 20-somethings or so.
You automatically get some some street cred, if you will, because of your lived experience.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said skincare had always been something that you were passionate about. Can you talk to us about that and where that kind of started?
Started with my grandma.
Okay.
Living with her, I promise, like, you go to bed and she would wake me up in the middle of the night and be like, hey, did you cleanse your face with that Noxzema? And I'm like, seriously, you know, at 10 years old, you're thinking, what? Like, I just want to sleep. Why do I get to cleanse my face? But it really started with her instilling in me just, you know, a skincare routine. And I think that a lot of times, especially with African Americans, we don't get that a lot.
Yeah.
We don't get the learning about your skin, how to take care of it. I see so many clients who don't even realize they should be wearing sunscreen every single day.
Yeah.
Even on a day like this, they always say, well, the sun's not out on, but the UV rays are. They never go away.
Right.
So it's just really about educating. And I feel like that's really where I come in. I educate my clients on what's good for them, what's good for their skin, how to take care of it. So
what are some of like the things that you see? I know you mentioned the sunscreen. Anything else that you see that most people just don't know when it comes to skincare, or there's a completely wrong misconception about it?
I would probably say one of the things is people think that they have to use like toners and things like that, when really toner is really just to remove extra product that's maybe left on your skin and to bring your skin back into pH balance. But if you don't use a toner, your skin is going to go back into pH balance anyway within 30 to 45 minutes. Another thing is alcohol. When people say that they use alcohol to tone their skin, I just cringe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, why? And they're like, well, it makes my skin squeaky clean. I'm like, well, you do know that if your skin is squeaky clean, it's missing something.
Yeah.
Right.
That is not a plus.
Yeah.
Not to mention, your skin is the biggest absorbent, organ that you have, the largest organ on your body. So what you put on it matters. It goes directly into your bloodstream.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And you're rubbing it with rubbing alcohol.
Yes. Proudly.
Yeah. Wow.
Or soap. Another thing, I always tell clients, they call it body soap for a reason.
Yeah.
It goes on your body, not your face.
Yeah.
We have cleansers for that.
Yeah.
So.
And there's also, I think, a lot of people, I will just speak personally, when I stopped drinking alcohol, I was like shocked with how quickly my skin reacted in a positive way.
Yes.
And hydration and like how much water you drink, it makes a huge difference.
Huge difference. A huge difference. And, I think the misconception is people think, well, if I drink water, I'm going to have clear skin, when really what the issue is that whatever is in our gut comes out in our skin. So if you're drinking water, you're cleansing your organs. Yeah. And that is helping you with the skin,
Yeah.
So healthy skin starts with what you eat.
It does. What you eat and what you drink. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like you might be blessed genetically and you might be cursed genetically, right? Like people have genetic predisposition to certain things, but you can control it with what you're putting in your body first.
Yes.
Yeah.
In your body and on your body.
Yeah. You might have an acne problem,
yes.
If you're eating a lot of sugar, and my teenagers hate to hear that, but I'm like, sugar, if just control the sugar.
Not just the teenagers, trust me.
It's
the adults too.
Yeah.
I get adults all the time who come in and they have, and a lot of, and for women, it's really, really rampant for us, especially when we hit like our 40s. Because then you start to hit that perimenopause area and you start breaking out. And you're like, I never had acne before. And I'm like, yeah, but it's our hormones.
Yeah.
It's all about our hormones.
Yeah.
And they come in and they're breaking down. I'm like, okay, tell me about your diet. And they're like, well, I like cheese and I like this. I'm like, you do know that dairy is not good for her. Well, I love cheese. I'm like, you want clear skin or you want cheese?
These are choices.
Choice now.
Choices. Yeah. Yeah.
It's like interesting. I turned 38 this year and I've always had, knock on wood, clear skin. Like I said, I noticed a lot of inflammation went away and some redness when I stopped drinking, but I never really had breakouts. Now, I hit it pretty well today. I will notice hormonally, cyclically, I will break out. And I'm like, this is so crazy that I've never had this issue. And one might say I'm healthier than I've ever been. So, but hormones are just.
And sometimes, especially if you have a esthetician who is knowledgeable, they can tell you exactly. You start getting breakouts around this area, it's always hormonal.
Yeah.
It's either hormonal or you've changed the toothpaste, so something or like that.
Yeah. But you're having a reaction.
You're having a reaction, but more than likely it's hormonal if you're female.
Yeah. It's it rules our entire world.
Yes.
And I'm thankful that they're starting to do a lot of research, and Amanda and I send each other video reels constantly every day. And I sent her one the other day, and it was just talking about that, they're starting to come out with real changes, that women and men are not built the same.
Absolutely.
And all the research has been done on men's bodies and not on women's bodies. And our hormones matter. our hormones absolutely dictate everything that we do and changes everything that we're exposed to.
Yes.
And that some even medications, products were safe for men,
are
not for women,
us.
you know? And so being aware of that and really trying to focus on, you know, non-toxic things and that becomes, and this is a new hot word, is the hormone disruptors, right?
Yes.
Finding products that are non-hormone disrupting. And do you dabble in that? Do you teach people about that?
Yes.
Or, yeah.
Yes, a little. So yeah, definitely, because like you said, what we put on our body also matters. So you gotta, you know, if you're trying to treat a skin issue or a skin, you know, you have to give them something that's going to help with that. That's going to assist with that. But you got to be conscious of the fact that hormones are playing a role in all of that.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you talked about just all the messaging we get as women around skincare, and you can watch a million TikToks, YouTube, Instagram reels, and they're like, this is how you are a skincare queen. And it like goes through 75 steps.
Yes.
Can you talk a little bit about that and how that's impacted your business?
So
they're overwhelming for me.
They are. Yeah. Well, here's the thing too. A lot of times those individuals are paid people, you know? They don't really use these products. They're showing you a product, but how do you know what's in that bar, you know, whatever they're using?
Yeah.
So, and another thing is, it's like you said, genetics, right? People are predispositioned to some things because of genetics. And just because something works for me doesn't mean it's going to work for you. We could have the exact same skin type, but it doesn't work for the both of us because of our genetics and our DNA. So you can't just apply anything to your face.
Yeah.
But they see, and especially with our young girls, our teens are getting more and more, and not even just teens, it's our preteens. My granddaughter had a whole list, and she's 12, a whole list of skincare stuff she wanted for Christmas. And it was like bubble cleanser, this and bubble cleanser. I'm like, where'd you even see this stuff?
Yeah.
TikTok.
Yeah.
And, you know, and then these kids come in because guess what? Their hormones are developing, right? But they're throwing all this stuff on their skin, and it's making their skin angry. So now they got these breakouts, and they've got hyperpigmentation, and, you know, the parents are like, they're going to be scarred for life. Right. And some of them will.
Right. Yeah.
Because of what they're putting on their skin. Right. Social media has a huge impact on not just women, but on our teens and our preteens as well.
My 12-year-old asked for a lip.
See?
Excuse me.
At 12.
You're 12.
Yes.
I'm like, you won't be getting that.
Exactly.
Yeah. Love you.
Well, because
why do you need that? And she's like, well, my lips are skinny. I'm like, based on who?
Right.
Based on what?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Society says that you got to have long hair, straight hair. You got to be thin. You got to have plump lips. You got to it's like, can you just be yourself? You're beautiful just like you are.
Just the way you are.
Now, if you are a person who, you know, maybe has an issue with the way you look, then do something about it. But don't let society dictate how you think you should look.
Like everyone should feel good in their own skin and their own body and do what they want. That's, you know, teach their own. But I will say, like, the amount of influencers that are telling us what we should look and feel like. And there's this weird now mesh of skincare, wellness, health, and like injectables in general. Like you can go get your teeth cleaned and get a little Botox while you're there. By the way, if you get Botox, totally fine. It's up to you. Don't care. But it's just interesting that these industries are now creating this wellness, beauty, like aesthetic kind of companies versus them being separated, you know?
Well, a lot of it is too because, and I know this because I have a lot of nurse clients. Right after COVID, a lot of those bedside nurses were like, I'm tired. I'm tired of doing this. It's stressing me out. I need to do something else. And so a lot of them have come over to the aesthetic side. And so they are the people who are opening up these med spas, as they call them.
Yeah.
And they're doing what you're seeing, the teeth, the Botox, the everything. Because as, you know, nurse practitioners or RNs, they can do that.
Yeah.
Right? Estheticians, we can't do Botox injections.
Right.
But they can do all of those things. And so they're breaking away from that bedside and they're coming over here and they're opening up and they're meshing everything together. You know, and that's what, and people want, you know, in our society, everybody wants it right now.
One-stop shop.
One-stop shop right now.
Yeah.
I can come there and get all of the things done.
Everything. I
Or
only
I
got to
can
go
go
one
make
place.
different appointments and go to these different places.
Absolutely.
And they like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
We do like an instant gratification these days. That's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, this is a personal question. I have seen so many things about like jade rollers, ice rollers, gua sha, all of these tools that you can use to look younger and change it without the things like Botox, stuff like that. What are your thoughts on those type of things?
I love those things.
Okay, good.
So I tell my students, it's about products and technique.
Okay.
We don't need all these machines. You don't need, and if, like you said, if Botox is your thing, that's your thing.
Yeah.
But jade rollers work.
Yeah.
Gua sha works, and what it is just a workout for your skin. It's actually toning those facial muscles. So just like you get dressed, you go to the gym, right? You're going to the gym to tone certain areas to work out. You're working out your face with those tools and those instruments.
That's awesome.
We had a friend that sent that the other day and I didn't know what it was.
Oh, yes. Yeah.
And she's like, after our moon circle the other night, she's like, if you didn't do the
gua sha. Yeah.
And I was like, what? I had to Google it.
Yeah.
Because I'm 53, but I don't do a lot of those things, right? Like my routine for my face and anything is real simple. And mostly just castor oil, to be honest, and washing it. That's about it. And so I was like, so it's some of this is lost on me, but I'm interested, and I'm like, oh, jade, I love jade. That's just like I love stones, and right, and I'm like, do I do the red light therapy? I think young and old, you can feel confused.
Yes. Yeah. Because there's so much information out there. And a lot of it is misinformation. You know, people don't do their own research. They just take someone's word for it.
Yeah.
And that's how they end up messed up skin and those kinds of things,
The ice rollers.
The ice rollers I got into because of my sinuses. So that's what's interesting is my jade roller and my ice roller I put in our little mini fridge freezer because when I get a sinus headache, I use a little edge one and go around my eyes at the small jade stone. And then I'll just use the big side just to like get that pressure.
Because what you're doing when you're doing that is you're actually draining into your lymph nodes.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're draining, and that's what it's supposed to do. So you're great. It's great for sinus pressure. So you're taking those stones and you're draining into the lymph nodes, and it's draining out. So the pressure is being released.
Yeah. And the reason I found, well, I've watched a million videos of the gua sha because I just love like watching people do like the whole thing. I'm always like, am I doing this right? And I watch the videos and try to mimic it. But I have a podcast I listen to, and she was really, really into Botox and fillers, and she wanted to get pregnant. And she was like, I'm just going to stop doing these things, and I'm going to use those remedies instead. She looks 10 years younger now than she did with all of that. And it was just the constant. And that's another thing too. I don't know if you can talk about this a little, but you talked a little bit about how the quick fixes, like I want this done immediately. All these other things are routine. You have to be willing
to maintain it. Yeah. And it's not cheap.
Yeah.
It is not cheap. Whereas if you're doing the jade rollers and things with time, I mean, it's like exercising. You can't just do it once and expect a miracle.
Right.
It's not instant gratification, but if you do it repeatedly and you have a routine, you're going to see the results.
Yeah.
And they're going to maintain them themselves.
With anything else.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there anything, obviously being a Black woman in this space, that you find frustrating when it comes to skincare or the information that is being put out, or just like, I assume it's just like hair, right? There's certain things that impact very differently.
Yes. And I'm glad you asked that question. So, having African-American skin, our skin is really sensitive. And so we really can't just be putting anything on it. I treat so many people who have hyperpigmentation, just dark spots. And it's because, they're using the wrong products or products that are just simply not made for our skin.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, estheticians, are not being trained properly on how to treat Black skin.
Yeah.
And instead of them telling their clients that, they just go ahead and treat them and then they end up with me.
Yeah.
I've had some stories.
Yeah.
I've had some stories, and I just wish people would really take the time to educate themselves they get on YouTube University and all these other places and they think that they learned something. It's like, no, go get a certification, get some extra, continuing education. You have to invest in your craft. And a lot of people do not take that seriously.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it ends up with really harming people's skin.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's just that's the hard thing about all this information all the time is everyone thinks they know everything. So you can literally go to school to literally learn this if you wanted to.
You absolutely could. Yes.
So,
yeah, there's methodologies to find. This is going to seem like a real pivot, but maybe not. Talk to us about being a business owner as a woman, as an African American, like struggles, triumphs. Has it been easy? Has it been hard?
Definitely not been easy. Especially after, I feel like before COVID, I was a lot busier. And with COVID, we've really had to shift things, like change how we do business, because a lot of people still aren't coming out, because they're hopping on TikTok and they're hopping on YouTube and they're like, I'll just do it myself. But then they mess something up and then here they come, it's like, and then they want a instant gratification. Like, I know I messed it up, but can you fix it
right now?
And I want it fixed right now. Like, no, it's going to take a minute. It didn't happen overnight. It's not going to clear up overnight.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard as a Black woman. I mean, you run into challenges with funding for your business. Especially if you don't have the clientele that's coming in, marketing as a small business owner. And I have to do everything. You wear multiple hats. It's not easy. You can't. Students always think, well, I'm just going to jump out there and I'm going to get out there. I'm going to open up a business. I'm going to go into one of these studios. I'm like, you do know that they expect their rent every week, whether you have a client or not.
Right. Yeah. You need to have a plan.
You need to have a plan. And so luckily I'm blessed in the fact that I have a husband, but if I didn't, I really don't know if I would sustain. I've had so many friends who have had to close their businesses. Because of how the economy is right now. So I do have a full-time job, so that kind of supplements now. But when I didn't, I was like really scared. Like, am I going to have to be one of those people who has to just throw in a towel?
Yeah. And you teach, right?
I do teach. I teach. So I was teaching at a cosmetology school. This goes back to how the business is running. My really good friend opened a cosmetology school. She had it for 14 years. Just closed the doors December 31st.
Oh, that's horrible.
That's terrible.
Due to funding.
Yeah.
So it's just not readily, I always hear people say there's grant money out there for small businesses and there's this money for small business. It's simply not true.
Yeah.
It is not true. And if it is out there, you got to jump through all these hurdles and they want you to have all these bank receipts and all this. It's like, well, what if I'm just starting out? What if I'm a new business?
Right.
Do I not qualify for anything?
You to have the whole giant business plan, their projections. Like, there's just a lot of, versus just I believe in you and your product.
Yes,
I
think a lot of people sell a lot of false dreams to people in terms of business funding. I really do, and for women, it's harder for us.
Yeah,
I feel like people sometimes just don't take us seriously. Don't think that we can run a business, and like you said, they want you to have all these 10 million things, and it's like, I'm just starting out.
Yeah.
Can I get just a little bit of help,
Yeah. Well, I think, it's a lot easier too for people who just have wealth.
Yes.
Because that allows you to take so many more risks and it gives you the time that you need to build it.
Yes.
But when you're just starting out and you're just the average person, man, is it difficult,
Yes. Right. It is.
Because really you have to have a full-time job and run your business at the same time.
You got to do both.
You got to do both.
You got to do both.
So you're working 2 full-time jobs really to get it launched. You have to really be passionate about it. Is what we say to people when they're talking about business. My husband and I are business owners too, but you have to really be okay with putting in the grind.
It's a lot of sacrifice.
Yeah, you got to really be okay with it and believe in it enough that when it gets difficult, that you're willing to push past the difficulty.
Yes.
And I don't think too many people talk about that. It's like, it's going to get hard.
Very hard.
And when it gets hard and when you're like, what do you do? And do you love it enough that when you're faced with that moment to keep going?
Yes.
Because the good stuff's on the other side of that.
Absolutely.
But you have to be willing to push through that.
And a lot of people, I think, just get burnt out. Like, I'm done. I'm in so many like Facebook groups for estheticians, and every day there's probably a dozen people who are like, I'm selling my stuff. I'm done. I'm not getting clients. I'm not this. I can't find funding. And they're burnt out.
Yeah.
They're tired of trying.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not even estheticians that are newly licensed. I'm talking people who have been in the industry for like 15, 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just and the dynamics are changing. So you got to change with the dynamics as well, though. You can't do business the same way that you've been doing business. You got to find new ways of doing business. When COVID started, I started doing online consultations because, Governor DeWine shut us down. We were shut down for like 3 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, if I don't work, I don't get paid.
Yeah.
So now what?
Right.
So I started doing online consultations, started pushing skincare products online, e-commerce. Like, I'm not there, but I can still ship it to you.
Yeah.
I can show you how I can hop on a Zoom and I can walk you through the steps of how to do this skincare routine or how to do this chemical peel at home. So
Yeah.
That was smart of you. That was really like, you got to pivot quick in
you gotta-
business. You got to pivot real fast.
real fast.
You can't be stuck in something.
Yes.
Yeah. Any big wins that you're like, this felt really, really good?
I would say probably right now the biggest win is just staying in business. When everything around you is just falling apart,
Yeah.
So that's my big win right now.
Yeah.
Just really staying afloat and just, sticking with it because it is my passion. I do love skincare. I love educating people about skincare and I love helping people. You get those clients that come in and they've never been without blemishes or anything on their face. And the first time you can help them with that and, their whole disposition changes.
Yeah.
You can just see their eyes light up. They smile real big and
You're giving them confidence.
Yes.
Right.
Give them that confidence. Yes.
That's awesome.
So it makes
I
a difference.
I never had like acne everywhere. I can't imagine what that's like, but I can imagine that really a messing with your who you are as a person, being able to hold your head up high and walk into public and be like, I'm here, where people are like, whoa, what's happening? What's going on there, right?
Yeah, totally.
I'm sure they get that reaction and it's unfortunate.
Yes.
It's unfortunate. And I've never been in their shoes, but I can imagine that. Well,
and then I get the clients who, they've never had acne or anything, but they just want to really invest in self-care.
Yeah.
They come in and after they're done, they're like, oh my gosh, I should have done this a long time ago. I'm like, yeah, why'd you take you so long? Or they come in and they're like, I want my skin to look like yours. I'm like, well, look, I got a skincare routine and I do day and night. I do not miss.
Also, I started when I was 10.
Yes.
So
my grandmother started me early.
Yes.
You must have a grandmother who wakes you up in the middle of the night, make sure you wash your face.
Yeah.
So yeah, when people they learn like I'll be 53 in May, and they're like, "There's no way."
Yeah.
I'm like, "Yeah, I am."
I'm honestly, when you were talking earlier, I was like, wait a second. This doesn't math to me because I'm pretty sure I thought you were in your late 30s. And so I was like, when you said grandkids, I was like, what? So it paid off,
Look great.
Is there any advice you would give parents who have those teens or preteens that are just feeling like, they've been spending a little too much time on TikTok and have this like clean girl aesthetic list of all the things that they should be putting on their face? Like, what would you tell them just to start off with?
I would tell a parent, and I do this a lot, and there's a lot of like Facebook groups in Westerville, and parents are always asking that question. Like, my kid wants to get in. I'm like, their skin is still developing. Their hormones are developing. Whatever you do only allows safe products. And safe products, when I say safe products, I'm talking about CeraVe, Cetaphil, those kinds of things, because they don't have a lot of fillers in them, no scents. And so they're not going to ignite a reaction in the skin. Let your children, sample those skincare products first. See how their skin does with that. Something simple. Don't jump feet first into what you see on TikTok and Instagram and all those kinds of things, because you're going to ruin your skin. Yeah. You're going to have a reaction.
And usually those things are pricey.
Yes.
They're not cheap. They're not cheap. Like, they're like, not. I need $300 for this line of products. And you're like, whoa. Yeah.
Yes.
Like you're 12 or 13 or 15, like.
Yes.
It's interesting to me because in my generation, your generation, and not you clearly because your grandmother really pushed it on you, but really our generation, it was like we weren't taught skincare.
Nope.
Yeah.
Like we weren't
My
taught
grandma,
face.
if
any
it wasn't
of that,
for her,
like,
I wouldn't have, you know.
I didn't do any of that in my 20s. And really it wasn't until I was in my late 30s that it was like, women should be taking care of their skin. And I was like, that's my, I don't do a lot even still, but because it was never something that was instilled in me that, other than like my goal. I remember my goal in my 20s was like, wash your makeup off your face before you go to bed.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
Yeah.
it was real simple. Like, just wash your face before you go to bed. Don't go to bed with all the mascara on your face and it's on your pillow the next morning. Like, it wasn't this big thing, and I feel like it's being, and it was mostly when you started to get wrinkles that it became important.
Yes.
Right. And so you were really fighting the aging process at that point, not being young. We were celebrated. We're like, look at me. I don't have any problem. I'm beautiful. I got wrinkles. I can drink all night and go the next day and it's fine. Like you didn't have the dark circles under your eyes and the things that, and now I feel like here are these young kids who feel like they need to improve and keep something the way it is when really that's what all of us as an older generation is fighting to get back to. So it's a I don't know how to explain that other than like even to the younger generations because they believe they need to be doing this at a young age.
It's all from social media though. Social media is telling them that they have to look like this. The young girls are getting younger and younger wearing makeup and weave and fake fingernails and all those things. And it's like, embrace your beauty. Yeah. You're beautiful without any of those things.
Right.
You don't need it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we need to start having conversations. We need to have more conversations and more influencers who are saying it's okay to be natural.
Yeah.
It's okay to not wear makeup. It's okay not to, have long hair down to your ankles and all those kinds of things. They need to know that it's okay.
Yeah. Yeah. I always look at, I'm a big movie buff and we always watch movies from like the 90s all the time. And Clueless is a great example. One of the best movies from when I was a kid. All these people in high school look so different. Like if you looked at Cher and Dion, best friends, and then Ty, the redhead that comes into the school, right? They all looked so, so different. Of course, they had the fancy clothes or whatever, but they were unique.
Yes.
They were all unique women and characters in this movie. And I watch movies now and these actresses now and everyone like
they look
has
the
the
same.
same look. It's freaky. It's like, wow, we don't celebrate uniqueness.
There's no individuality.
No.
Totally.
And our kids go to a pretty affluent school here in Columbus and, they all look the same. Like it's hard for me to tell the girls apart. They literally all look the same.
Yeah.
Like you all have the same hairstyle. Everybody's got long hair down to their butt. It's all parted in the middle. It has to be slicked down. You all are wearing the same outfit. Like very few
What's
people.
your personality? Like there's no personality showing through.
None at all. And I was like, this is crazy. You guys all look the same, other than a variation of your hair color. But other than that, you kind of all look the same.
You know what? It's because they never had to get perms and wear stirrup pants.
Well, that's
their parents never had to dress them up with some Winnie the Pooh t-shirts.
Right.
So maybe you got a little personality. If you had some ugly clothes, you had to wear them.
Jelly bean jackets and shoes and
yeah.
My mom used to make those shoelace barrettes. Remember those? Where you take shoestrings?
Yes.
Oh, you're so lucky if you don't know what this is. They were monstrosities, and you just like wear them.
Bring it over here, yeah.
They were shoelaces.
Shoelaces turned into bows,
if you want to call them that. It was egregious. Anyway, I just feel like they got to miss so much of these really hard times where you had to have a good personality to make up for it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Wild.
They still look back. Every picture they look at, they're like, oh, because they're younger. Because they don't fit a certain look. And I'm like, you were 7.
Yeah.
You were 7.
Right.
You were a child. And so I'm like, you were adorable. And she's like, oh, it's awful. this terrible picture. I mean, look at those teeth. Look at, and it's so harsh because it doesn't fit this persona that they feel like they need to be on social media. And it's really, really uncomfortable. And I think parents nowadays have to work really hard to keep their girls feeling like you're enough without all of that when they're on social media.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. And I think, social media can be good and it can be bad,
Yeah.
And a lot of times if parents aren't monitoring what their children are watching or listening to, that plays a really big part. So they're being parented by what they're learning on the internet,
Yeah,
right.
And, especially with young girls, they're so impressionable. So they see Beyonce and all these other people with, all this stuff on their face and all these hair, and they want to be like that, right?
Yep,
they want to be just like that.
Yeah. Going back to your business, what are the services that you provide there? Just so if anyone's listening and they want to get something from you, like what are those things that you have?
So I am a certified acne specialist and chemical peel specialist. I do a lot of chemical peels, and I work with aging as well. So we do facials, we do full body waxing, and lashes and spray tanning.
Love that.
Oh, nice.
Love that.
Awesome.
Yeah.
I've always been curious about, and maybe, I'm just not in the know. Can you talk a little bit about chemical peels? I feel like that frightens people when they hear it. What does it do for skin and just what are some benefits for it?
So a chemical peel is actually an injury to the skin.
Okay.
So people always think when they hear the word chemical peel, they think what they see on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, that you're shedding like a snake, right? They always see the tons of skin falling off of people's face and all of that. And there are chemical peels that do that, but there are also chemical peels that don't do that at all. There's different types of chemical peels. A lactic chemical peel is very mild. It's very gentle. It's so gentle that you can do it once a week. You're not going to get that shedding, right? Versus a mandelic acid with some vitamin A. Okay, now you're going to peel like a snake. So I have clients who are like, you know what? I want to do a chemical peel, but I got to go to work. I don't want to go to work with my skin falling off. So what can I do? And we start slow, right? We might start slow and build up to it. So a chemical peel, like I said, is an injury to the skin. What it does is it initiates activity in the fibroblasts. The fibroblasts are there to help create new skin. So it encourages more collagen and elastin in the skin. That's what produces the new skin. So for people who have like dark spots and those kinds of things, we apply the chemical peel on top. It reaches down into the dermis, brings it up to the surface, and just peels it off. Okay. So there's different types. Like I said, there's lactic, there's glycolic, there's Jesner, there's mandelic. And there are chemical peels that are a mixture of those kinds of things. All of the AHAs, which I just named, there's only one BHA, a beta hydroxy acid, and it's salicylic. Salicylic is mostly known for treating acne.
Right.
So people who have acne or, breakouts and those kinds of things would fare very well with that. And then we also I do what we call a skin renewal peel and a get glowing peel. And those two peels are kind of like a cream-based peel, but they're a mixture of different peels.
Okay.
Together. So.
And salicylic acid, that's an ingredient that's commonly seen in some of the
and benzoyl peroxide
and
yes
ingredients in the acne
products
acne medication.
That you
see. What makes people, because collagen really is what plumps up the skin and firms the skin, right? So if you're stimulating collagen production, not only does it help with the spots and helps with basically you're taking off a layer of skin and letting your body grow a new layer. But it also helps with fine lines and wrinkles, right?
Absolutely.
And plumping up the skin, helps with drooping, that kind of stuff, right?
Absolutely.
Fills in the lips and all that good stuff.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Does all of those good things. We do microdermabrasion, dermaplaning. Yeah.
Got you. The microneedling?
Nope, that's for nurses.
That's for nurses. Okay, that's a different thing.
That's a different thing.
Okay.
Those are actual needles. But I do something that's similar to it. It's called nano needling. So, but nano, we use a nano stamp. It's kind of like stamping the skin. It stamps the serums in versus using a needle to penetrate the skin.
Got you.
So it's non-invasive.
Got you.
Yeah.
It just really roughs up the surface more than anything. and then helps the product
helps
get
the
into your
product
skin.
penetrate. Yes,
Yeah.
And are you still doing virtual consultations now?
I do. I still do
Okay,
them.
that's great. And then where is your office and where can people find you online?
We are in Westerville on Otterbein. The address is 519 South Otterbein. We're in Suite 14. And online, it's Nourish Skin and Beauty Spa. So I'm on TikTok, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook.
Awesome.
So
we'll link all those places so people know where to find you and can easily access your information. And then we always want to know, like, who are some women in your life that have really molded you and inspired you and maybe changed the course of how you decided to live?
Well, one of those women is my children's grandmother, who is a huge philanthropist in Columbus, Ohio. Her name is Donna James, and she's always been my biggest cheerleader. Like whenever, if I said I can walk to the moon, she'd be like, "You can do it."
I believe in you.
I believe. So she's always, always, always been my biggest.
Is this your husband's mother then?
No,
no.
Your
beforehand. Grandmother that. Oh, okay,
Yeah, before.
got you.
So she's always been just my biggest supporter. Like
That's
she
amazing.
was the reason that I went to college. I was the first person in my, family to go to college. She paid for me to go to college. Like she just would not let me fail.
Oh, wow.
So she was my village. She taught me that, you can have obstacles, but obstacles are meant to be overcome. That should not stop you, Let's just, you got to have a plan A, B, and C. So, okay, this didn't work out. So now what?
Yeah.
And so I'm one of those people who I'm not a complainer, and I really don't like people who complain a lot. I'm like, let's get a solution. What's the solution?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things my employers always said about me. They love the way that I always, if I had something to say, I always came with a solution for that issue. So I just think that a lot of times people use, complaining as an excuse. And, if you're going to get more of what you talk about, right? So if you complain all the time, you're going to get more to complain about.
It's that energy coming back
It's that
to you.
energy coming back to you.
I'm into that.
And then my daughter, I will say that she really inspires me. I have a special needs grandson, and he was born with Hirschsprung's disease, cerebral palsy. He's legally blind and severe hydrocephalus. He's non-mobile and nonverbal. And so he just turned 8 years old on January 11th.
Oh.
And when she first found out that this is, what was going to happen, of course, they tried to talk her into terminating her pregnancy. She would not do it. But the doctor gave us all these doom and gloom, like he's never going to smile. He's never going to eat orally. He's never going to laugh. He's never going to, just all these nevers. And I'm like, you know what? God has to last say. So she gave birth. She ended up having to have a C-section because, of course, she was high risk. And he was in NICU for about 3 months. And I remember her like calling me one day, and she was like crying. She was like, "They won't give me a bottle for him." And I'm like, "What?" She's like, "They won't give me a bottle." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm coming to the hospital because I don't know what's happening here." So I get there, and the nurse is like, "Well, we're not really sure about his suction. So we don't want him to choke. So we won't, we just don't want to get." I said, "He's sucking a pacifier."
Yeah.
If he can suck that pacifier, he can drink this bottle.
Let's give him a chance to fail.
Yes, give him a chance. And so she gives my daughter the bottle and drink all 2 ounces. No problem. Now, again, he's nonverbal, non-mobile. He's in a wheelchair, but he is the funniest kid. He laughs. He has an older sister and a younger sister. And he just plays with them. He can, if you lay him on the floor, he can roll to wherever he wants to go. He loves his little bumper car. And, he's just a ball of joy. And I will say that my daughter, her strength, for the first year of his life, he was in and out of hospitals. Because he has a shunt for the hydrocephalus. So he's had several surgeries. He just had a surgery last September. They put magnetic rods in his back. The surgery was 8 hours.
Oh my God.
And so my daughter had to take 3 months off from her job because who's going to watch him, right?
Right. Yeah.
And so he does have a home health care aide, but they can't do that medically stuff.
It's outside of their
It's
scope.
outside of their scope. So she handles it like a champ. She perseveres. She does. She takes care of him and the other 2 kids and her household, and, she has her days, but she keeps going.
Yeah.
She doesn't stop.
Beautiful.
She
That's
keeps
incredible.
going.
Wow.
That's
So,
awesome.
It sounds like you have a lot of very strong, positive women
yes.
in your life, and that is amazing.
I really tell women to find their tribe.
Yeah.
Find their tribe. I have a group of, girlfriends that it's about 10 of us, and we do everything together. We travel together, we vent to each other together,
Yeah.
and it's nice. It's
Yeah.
nice to have a group of people who you can depend on and know that they got your back.
Yeah.
I think
You
it's
can
impossible without it.
It is. And I think a lot of times women think we always think we have to do it alone. We got to do everything ourselves. We got to be the mom, the driver, the everything, the cook, the chauffeur, it's impossible to do alone.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We always talk about how important community is and building community,
Yes.
and it's easy to fall victim for lots of things when you're siloed,
Mhm.
right? And taking care of each other is the most important thing that
Absolutely.
we have. So
Yeah.
Taking care of each other and taking care of ourselves. And a
Right.
lot of times I think women, because people always say, well, you're so strong. And it's like, I am, but sometimes I'm weak.
yeah.
I need to be able to lean on somebody too. And I
Yeah.
think that when you're that individual, when you're that person, everybody looks at you like you got it all together, that you don't need any assistance,
Yeah.
And it could be so far from the truth. Like we got, I get weak sometimes. I want somebody I can call up and say, hey, I just
course.
need to talk to you. I just need to vent, or I just need someone to say, keep going.
Yeah.
Right.
You
I need
never know
somebody
what
to share
people
the
are dealing
load.
with.
Sometimes the load gets heavy.
Yes.
We as women in our society carry a lot on our shoulders
We do.
every day.
Every day.
And proving ourselves and getting rights that we deserve and all the things, right, has led us to be really strong individuals and holding things that get really heavy.
Yes.
And we don't have to do it all by ourselves.
don't.
And I do feel like that we're starting to shift from feeling like we have to prove ourselves
yes,
to
definitely.
right to now coming back hopefully in our society to a more even keel that it feels okay for women to be like, I don't have to prove myself so much that I have to carry this boulder 24/7.
Absolutely.
That I can come back to ask for help. I can rely on my family. I can delegate things. I don't have to be everything to everybody all the time. And I really hope that that's happening. I feel like that's happening in our
I do
culture.
too. And I really want women to really know and believe that it's okay to practice self-care, to take care. I don't care what self-care looks like to you, but to practice self-care. If it's, finding a quiet space and just reading a book or sipping on some coffee or tea or going for a walk or getting a facial or going to exercise, but taking that time because it's so necessary. It is so necessary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It doesn't have to look like a facial.
It doesn't have to look like a
can-
facial.
It can
could
look
be-
like the second cup of coffee when you have laundry to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It can look like getting them clothes out of the dryer and just laying them right there.
That's
like,
right. Be like, nope,
walk
I
away
don't
from
have it
them.
today.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah. I don't feel good. I'm tired. I'm going to lay back down and take a nap instead of doing another chore. Right.
Absolutely.
Like, it can be really simple things.
It could be really simple things. Or
Yeah.
turning the TV off and just sitting in the dark.
Or calling a friend and saying, I need to talk.
I
You
need to
have a
talk.
couple of minutes. I'm having a really hard time. Or can you come over? I'm really feeling a certain way, or
Yes.
whatever that looks like. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have mentioned this definitely many times, but also just being comfortable sharing your story. So
Yes.
thank you for coming on here today and talking about, your life and the struggles and the happiness and all the beautiful things, because you never know what someone will listen to that you said that they're like, well, I can do this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this
Absolutely.
resonated with me. And now I feel like I can go out here and try this.
Yes.
And so thank you for doing that.
Well, thank you for having me.
We appreciate you
I really,
coming
really
on.
enjoyed this.
Yes. Is there anything else that we didn't get to that you're like, I want to make sure I say this?
No, I think I covered just about everything.
Good.
Well, we will link all of your information in the show notes, and we'll make sure that we tag your business account on Instagram when we post. And remember to give us a follow on YouTube. You can subscribe now.
Yeah,
you can see us.
this is
exciting.
First time LaTonga's on the first YouTube video.
So exciting.
Yeah.
And then, of course, we are on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And just of this last week, we are also now on iHeart. So
Yay.
We are killing it, y'all. We are killing it. It's a big deal.
Congratulations.
all the
Thank
platforms.
you.
It's been a long time coming, as Taylor Swift would say.
Yes.
That's
but we're
great.
doing it.
That's great.
We're doing it imperfectly, but we're doing
Listen,
We're doing it.
you're doing what works for you, and that's
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
You know, I think people always think that perfect has to look a certain way.
Yeah.
But it looks differently for each of us, right?
Well,
Totally.
and just not doing it because it's not perfect.
Exactly.
Just do the damn thing.
Just do it.
Do the thing,
Exactly.
you know?
We overanalyze
That's right.
everything.
Yeah.
Like, no,
That's right.
just do it.
Well, it's also another thing about being a woman is like we have this thing where we're so anticipating the thing where someone gives us criticism because we just feel like we have to do everything so perfectly. And it's like, no, we can just go out there and try it and do it and then adjust along the way.
Well, I will tell you guys this. I have been anticipating starting a podcast on skincare for so long.
Oh,
And I just haven't done it because I'm like, I just didn't know where to begin. Thinking that everything has to be perfect, you know?
Aw.
And so you guys have really inspired me now. Like, okay.
That's amazing.
Not that this wasn't perfect, because to me, this is perfect.
Listen, girl, this started in a one room place in her house under a blanket because it was like echoing without a microphone and this tiny little thing. Like how we started to where this is now, and really just 6 months time is vastly different.
Yeah.
But we did it and we put it out there.
And like
and
you said, you just got to do it.
we just did
Yeah,
it.
So you guys have inspired me.
Yeah,
Oh,
thank you.
thank you.
I appreciate that. I'm
So
glad you're
wonderful.
doing so many great things, adding another great thing to your, I'm sure you'll be great at it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it. Well, thank you so much for your time. And until next time, everyone.
Love you.